How much would you say an entire drift week costs?
Probably 7 to 10K.
7 to 10 grand.
7 to 10 grand for one drift week.
I've never been a Mustang guy. I've always like despised Mustangs for some reason.
I've never been a Mustang guy. They're just cheap and they're good.
Now, dude, that's exactly why. Because all the Z's have shot up, all the G's have shot up, S chassis, anything that is good to be a drift car. And I'm like, damn, I really wanted all of these.
How do you get into drifting? Everybody's like learning a low power car with very little angle or no angle kit with a factory handbrake. Don't put a hydro in it. I was like, all right, cool. Well, what's the car to do that? And everyone's like, S chassis, S chassis, S chassis, S chassis.
Let's see how you do under pressure. Yeah, I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey. Yeah. Ain't no errors, baby. It's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy.
Welcome back to the #1 Drift Podcast on YouTube, presented by Injuku Racing. My name is Dawson, and today we have
Jace. Hello, I am a Southeast guy from Atlanta, and I got a C5 Corvette.
Sick. Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. But of course, before we get into it, look below the video. Make sure the subscribe button is not still red. If it is, you're definitely going to want to push that and hit that bell notification so you're always updated every time an episode comes out. And then on top of that, I haven't mentioned this often recently, but the highlight of the outro, if you've noticed, is normally someone else's reel that they've posted on Instagram. If you want to be that highlight, literally all you have to do is tag me in one of your reels, and the one with the most likes each week is the highlight of the outro. That's simple. But in case anyone new here didn't know that. And then the Grassroots Hero stickers that we have and the merch as well, grab those. You will get one of the stickers if you do order a shirt. And on top of that, at Injuku, if you do order any parts or just anything you need, use code CODP24 and you'll get a full like custom sticker pack that you can't get anywhere else. So do that. And yeah. Oh, if you are looking to improve your content this year, whether you're a company or a driver, whatever in motorsports, hit me up. Tell me what's going on with your content, what you need done, and let's see how we can improve it, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that was long-winded as fuck. I apologize. So if you want to kind of give more of an introduction on who you are, what you do for a living, what you drive, more in depth, stuff like that.
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Jace Kern. I am an Atlanta drifter. I have a C5 Corvette, but I've had a couple of different chassis over the years. I started out in a KA S14. Switched to Rev Up 350Z, switched to a C5, and then I also have like a little beater trainer missile car that's a SN95 Mustang. So
damn,
but yeah,
trading them out.
Yeah, so I was
we'll get into all that for sure.
New chassis and stuff like that. So, but I've really bonded with the Corvette, so it'll probably stay around for a good long time. Hell
yeah! Well, they're definitely making a name for themselves, so
sure.
I see why. But you actually got into a lot of off-road stuff back in the day.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that, because I've never been an off-road guy for one.
Yeah, so I was really big into off-roading. My dad actually used to race. So he did Safari Triathlon and Off-Road Sportsman Challenge. If anybody is familiar with like Camel Trophy over in Europe, it's a similar thing that happened here in the States. So essentially like imagine like rally, like waypoint racing, but you mix in like Boy Scout challenges kind of thing. So like you like race from like this point to that point through the woods. You get out of your Jeep, truck, whatever, you get the kayak off the top, you paddle up a river a mile, down a river a mile.
No way.
Get back in, go to the next waypoint, you get out, you do a challenge to where like you have to take off, you have to jack up the Jeep or truck, take off a tire, run it all the way around it, put it back on, go to the next one. And it's just like tons of these little challenges. Yeah, it was super cool. So dad was actually really good at it. He's in a whole bunch of magazines and stuff like that and all kinds of neat stuff. He's on ESPN2 and like, yeah, it's really neat.
Damn, dog.
Yeah,
what?
Yeah, dad is he's a cool guy. So so we were big into off-roading, and that shut down because there was like a legal thing with somebody got hurt at one of the races and whatever. It just fizzled out after that, right? And but got big into rock crawling after that, and then that's whenever I started becoming like the age to where I could drive and stuff. So got big into Jeeps, went four-wheeling and rock crawling all the time. Went to AOP, Chakalaka, Windrock, stuff like that. And then Yeah, I had a good time. Like, so for spring break in college, one of my years, me and my buddies, we all drove from KSU and Kennesaw all the way up to AOP, beat the tar out of our stuff. I jumped to Cherokee, my buddy jumped his TJ, and then
Fuck
like
yeah.
all that stuff. And then like we road tripped home afterwards. It was sick. And then, but at that same time, like I had got hurt riding skateboards and BMX and stuff like that. So
okay.
like right around that same period of time is whenever I started getting to like the drifting stuff. And then, so like that was my transition over from like off-roading to like drifting is like I had a bunch of fun off-roading, but parks were going away and stuff was happening with that. And like drifting was something new and exciting that I found because I was a big BMX kid and I was watching like LZ and stuff. And it was the same time he was transitioning to drifting as well.
God,
and
dude,
like,
you got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Holy
I'm like,
shit. Okay.
dude, this looks sick. Right. And, so dad was really against it at the beginning because like, hey, no, we're a truck and Jeep family. We only do off-roading, blah, blah, blah. Why are you getting this little import car? It was an S14. And he was like, why are you getting this little POS Nissan little car? Blah, blah, blah. This is stupid. You know, we need to stay with off-roading. Like you love off-roading. I'm like, yeah, I do. But like this drifting thing is really cool. You know what I mean? And,
Gotcha. Well, all right.
Sure.
Hold on. Yeah. Before we go too far,
all right.
We're gonna go through actually all the cars because I want to talk. We've been through so many. So, actually, one thing that I've always been curious about is since you have done that transition from off-roading to drifting, what is there anything from off-roading that could kind of translate to drifting?
So with side-by-sides and stuff, I got used to it with like the tail letting out and stuff like that. Like whenever you're coming out of a corner, you smash on the gas and like the tail starts to let out. So you get used to like sliding or drifting that way.
Yeah.
But it's mostly like
breaking the rear end loose.
Yeah, but it's mostly like a power slide kind of thing. Like you're not transitioning, you're not like sucking up on a door or anything like that. But there's like some things that carry over. And then like the adrenaline rush is really similar as well, which is cool. Like if you're on like a big rock ledge and like, you know, you have to like rev up, dump the clutch, and like try to beat your way up to the top of a hill. It's like the same feeling as like a close transition where you get on somebody's door and like you're banging door and stuff like that. Like it's super satisfying. So like whenever you get it done right, it's like it feels good. You know,
just like proximity of like, I guess not proximity, but knowing the width of your car, like how does that ever help translate it?
So like,
because I feel like you're
awareness
being all the fucking trees around and shit, especially if you're doing rock calling.
Yeah, so like spatial awareness with like a vehicle and stuff definitely helps because like you kind of get used to like how big your vehicle is. And I was always in a Jeep, so it's a little bit smaller, which was nice because I could pick my line up like a rock face or around a tree or around like, you know, a rock section or something like that. So it helps. I never really thought of it as like transferring into drifting, but it definitely makes sense like with being aware of like where the rear of the car is, where the front of the car is, how close you are to somebody or like something. So, but yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I definitely say that it there's definitely like little nuances that like mesh together. So
I definitely want to build some type of off-road vehicle at one point. That's just never been something I've had around in my life to get into it, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. But you said you did BMX and skating and stuff. Is that kind of like who you were before all of that?
Yeah, so like
I know you grew up with the off-road stuff, but
yeah. So at the same time as growing up with the off-roading, like me and like my friends that like grew up in the neighborhood like surrounding where I lived and stuff, we were always big into riding dirt bikes every day, riding BMX bikes every day, riding skateboards. My buddy's dad worked for like a woodworking company, so they built like a quarter in his backyard. So we always had access to a quarter, which was sick.
Damn.
But yeah, so I was very fortunate like to be able to have that and like be around that. And then dad raised me to where like I grew up watching like, you know, like Nitro Circus and like Krusty's Demons of Dirt and Pops videos and like all this stuff. So it was really cool to like I don't know, be raised around that. And like I had that action sports mind. So whenever I got into drifting, it was like I felt right at home. Everybody's the same. Like you walk around the pits at a drift event, like, oh, what did you used to do? Oh yeah, I used to skate and I got hurt. Oh yeah, what did you do? Oh yeah, I did BMX and I got hurt and I got in the car. So, you know, with age, get a cage. So,
hey, there you go. Yeah. Well, actually, speaking of like the drift scene, how does the drift scene compare to more of the off-road scene, I guess? And it would probably compare more to what your dad did because there would be like pits and stuff like that for whatever competition they're running.
Yeah. So like with the grassroots stuff, it's very similar with like everybody's there to help you. Like if you like are on a rock ledge, you take a bad bounce, you chew up a drive shaft and you spit it out. You know, like somebody's gonna be there to help you out and like try to get it fixed and get you off the trail. And I've seen it's like very similar at like a grassroots drift event with like, you know, like, hey, this kid drove his only car, which is this S13, to a drift event, and he sheared his coilover in half. And like somebody's like, hey, I got a spare one in the trailer. You know, it's just
drive my car, I'll trailer yours.
Yeah. Or like somebody would like lend them a coilover or like lend them a tie rod or something like that to help them get home. So it's really cool.
That's cool that that's still alive, because I don't know of many other motorsports that are very camaraderie based like drifting is, which I know there's some competitions and stuff. You got some wackos, but
yeah, for sure.
That's cool to see. I'm glad that's still a thing in other motorsports.
Yeah, it's nice. It's very refreshing. So, but yeah, so
actually speaking, what is the like almost trophy truck looking
so that's
builds that you've done?
So that was the first vehicle that I ever had, and me and my dad built it. So he got it for me whenever I was 14, and we wanted a father-son project. So because he built his first Jeep with his dad, growing up in their little barn, and then we did the same thing in our little barn. And he's like, well, what do you want to build? And I was like, I want to do a truck, because I played the what was it, the Motorsport 2 one that was on PlayStation 3.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I had a trophy truck on it, and then the dirt rally stuff that had trophy trucks. I'm like, that looks cool. I want to build that.
Fuck yes. Okay.
So we got it. Pretty much did like a full frame off resto on it. Put McNeil Perry Racing like body kit essentially on it.
Yeah.
Did the paint. Then I started doing 4-wheel and kept gutting CV axle shafts left and right. Like I was just like tearing them up. And like on like dumb stuff too. Like I would go over like a speed bump in a parking lot, and like it had like the torsion arms cranked, so they're running at a steep angle. So it just like completely like chitlit this like little axle shaft and spit the U-joints out of it. And then
my God.
Yeah. And so like, all right, well, we're done with that. So I saved up and I did a solid axle swap on it. So me and Dad did a solid axle swap. So we got a 79 Ford F250 high pinion axle to go in the front of it. We put Blazer outers on it, so it's still 6-plug. And then we built it like that. But yeah, it's neat. It has Fox shocks on it off a Raptor, and you know, solid axle in it. And yeah, it's tooled up pretty good. It's a good truck. It's really cool. So.
Hell yeah. I don't know hardly anything about them. So that's the one that stood out to me whenever I was doing like research and shit.
Yeah.
But do you still have it?
Yep. Yeah. Still
no
have
way.
It. We'll never get rid of it. So, you know, it has like.
Do you keep all your cars?
Not all.
No,
of them.
okay.
Yeah. I've sold a lot of stuff, but the ones that are special to me, I keep. So like I'll keep that truck forever. I'll keep my Corvette forever. So,
yeah.
You know, I just have like an emotional like bond to them now. Like they're just.
I got attachment issues to my shit, dog. Yeah. So I feel you. Trust me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So then all right, then fuck it. We'll just get into the drifting shit. So what was the window of opportunity to like drifting for you? Like who introduced you, or what introduced you?
So interestingly enough, I got introduced to drifting way earlier than whenever I got into it. So my buddy Austin Bates, he got into drifting, and he's like, let's go to FD Atlanta, we'll go there. He's like, this thing is really cool and all this stuff. And he's like really talking it up. I was like, oh, okay, you know, something to do on the weekend, right? And so we
want to drink beer.
Yeah. And so we go to FD Atlanta, and we're watching stuff like that. And like I was like, oh, this is neat, but like, you know, there's so much downtime in between runs and all this stuff. It's like all this stuff. Like, so it wasn't that like, it was exciting when it was going on, but whenever it wasn't as exciting for me. And then later on, whenever I was in college and I got hurt skating, I started getting into it whenever like LZ and like the BMX guys were starting to get into it, like Quamback and people like that. Like it was all around the same-ish time. And they got into it, and I saw like all these events where they did hot lapping, and it was just nonstop, just going with drifting and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, that looks super cool, you know? And then the thing that like really just like set it off for me was like the thing like I went and bought a car the next week was I was watching Taylor Ray's video at Ebisu, where he comes up over the hill at North Course, and then he like taps the wall, and everybody's like freaking out like, oh, yeah, you know, that's sick. And like I was like, all right, that's it, I'm buying a car. And then I just like went feral on like Craigslist and like Facebook Marketplace, and I found a bone stock ish S14. It had a welded diff and like coilovers on it. Okay. And then for $1,400, and went and picked it up. And yeah, that was
I fucking wish.
Oh, I wish too. So it
The
was
old
a
S
little rough
chassis
around
stories will never get old.
yeah, it was a little rough around the edges, so I got a little bit cheaper than most of them were at the time. A tree fell on it actually, so so the roof was dented in a little bit and it had no back glass.
Yeah.
But it didn't take out the sunroof. Make that make sense? I don't really know.
Huh.
Yeah, crazy. But yeah, so it was a little rough around the edges, but it was super cheap and it ran. So, and then
Fuck yeah, just
yeah, all downhill since
dual
then.
cam KA, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dual cam, 5 lug. It was an auto that somebody at some point had manual transmission swapped and everything like that. So like everything was done and it had been driven at events before. And so like it was a known car that would do well. So
okay.
Yeah, I wanted a good base. I'd always watched all the I went like full Spurg and watched all the Lone Star videos and all the YouTube videos I could. I'm like, how do you get into drifting? Everybody's like learning a low power car with very little angle or no angle kit and with a factory handbrake, don't put a hydro in it. I was like, all right, cool. Well, what's the car to do that? And everyone's like, S chassis, S chassis, S chassis, S chassis. So, because this
because at the time.
Yeah, because these hadn't taken off yet. So, and then.
Do you think that mindset going into drifting is still the correct way to do it?
I think it's very valid. Yeah. So, like a good example of it is like, so me and my dad had been talking and I had finally convinced him to get into drifting. So he has a Corvette that he's built. And he's like, it's way too fast. He's like, I feel myself building bad habits already. And he's like, I want to get like a slower car so that I can like learn like how to carry momentum and like how to like check up and not be reliant on like the handbrake as a safety stick and stuff like that. So it's definitely really neat to be able to see him as like a new drifter and like going through it again. So it's really cool. But yeah, I think starting a slow car with like little angle and not like a hydro or anything like that, so like you're forced to learn how to go fast. Like there is a guy that I started with who started with a LS swapped S14 and then I had my stock little KA car that I learned with, and there's very much a different driving style because like he would like come like at like 30 miles an hour into like this zone that you could be going at least 70 and then he'd just handbrake in and then just step on the gas and just like keep power and go
shit from
and
there,
that was it. But like, and he was always super choppy on transition, use the handbrake. A lot of places you shouldn't use a handbrake, stuff like that. So it's very slow versus like I'm coming in from the fence line at the back 40, hauling as fast as I can, chucking it forth, throwing it in, downshifting, and then just stand on the gas as hard as I can because I need to carry all that momentum. As soon as you lose momentum, you're done. So like it forces you to be fast, which is nice. And then you don't have these little crutches like, oh, like I'm going to spin out. I'll just angle up really hard right here. Like you can't do that. You have to like have the right line. So it's nice.
Which honestly, there are some times where I wish I started in a KA car or something a little bit less power than the Z. Cause like, I'm not gonna lie, these are just cheater cars.
Yeah, they're pretty quick. Yeah, and they're definitely a good cheater car. Like out of the box, they're really good. They're almost like a little too fast, like you were saying. Though.
Yeah.
So, but I think like a good slow one is like a SN95 Mustang, but they're almost a little too torquey though. So
yeah, I could see that
because like the V8's just a little bit too torquey. But yeah, I mean you can't really find like a KA S chassis anymore. They're hard to find for a decent price. So
honestly, I would say like an FRS or BRZ. That'd be almost the same because they make like what 160 horsepower.
Yeah, super low powered.
Yeah, that would be about.
Yeah, and there's tons of companies making kits for them now. The aftermarket support's there to help support them and everything. Kits and coilovers and everything like that. So like you could grow into that chassis as well.
Yeah,
which is nice.
So you can start making like cheat code. Drift boxes.
Yeah, exactly.
Angle kit, the rear arms, here's the handbrake and your seat, like all in one bunch.
Yeah, for sure,
dude. Yeah. Well, that's interesting that you still feel that way because I've always been that way. What you said? What is your dad getting then?
So he's in a C5 Corvette now too. So
no, like but you said he's contemplating getting a different car.
So we had talked about doing like a lower horsepower car. So even like switching out the seat in my Mustang and just letting him rip that because it's a slow car. Like it's super slow. Like it's a very, very tired 5.0. Like it makes no power. And it's just really simple. It's, cut and shut knucks on it with like notched out lower control arms. Okay. And then like Best Damn Shop Around, he was the guy that helped me with doing all the angle kit on it. And then we did a handbrake in it and a seat and then, the max peding rods. And that was it. So it's just super, super simple. And then it's enough to learn in. So.
Oh, yeah. That's nice. I've now that I'm around Mustangs all the time, they're becoming more, I guess, okay to me. I've never been a Mustang guy. I've always like despised Mustangs for some reason.
I've never been a Mustang guy. They're just cheap and they're good.
Yeah, now, dude, that's exactly why. Because all the Z's have shot up, all the G's have shot up, S chassis, fucking anything that is good to be a drift car. And I'm like, damn, I really wanted all of these.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Mustangs are still cheap as fuck. But
and dude, they cop a hit so well. They cop a hit phenomenally. So I have a buddy of mine, Brady. I swear there's more cars he has taken out with that car, more walls. But like it takes it like a champ. So he got it, and that's then the best thing for his driving ever because he can push so hard and it just doesn't matter because the car just takes the hits. It doesn't matter. It's great. Like after watching him and how hard he beat on that car, like he hit like 2 or 3 walls because like he had a failure or something like that and it just threw him into the wall. Like it wasn't his fault, but like it just happened. You know, wrecks happen. It's drifting. And but it just kept taking the abuse, pegged out the temp gauge into the full on into the catch up, just like boiling over the radiator, shooting out of the hood and everything like that. He'd walk away, come back later, get in it, go on track. It's fine. It was great. Yeah. And after I saw
which Mustang did you say that was?
SN95.
SN95. Okay.
The super bubbly.
Yeah, those are fucking tanks, dude.
Yeah, they're great.
Was it that's the round tail light one, right? Yeah, those are the ugliest ones.
They're hideous.
To me.
They're hideous, but I don't care about it. That's the best part. You know, it's like, oh, I wrecked it. Oh well, it's great.
Well, okay, then which Mustang would you say is the best, probably, as far as like if someone wanted to start?
For someone wanting to start, I like the SN95 because they're cheap. They're everywhere. There's so many people that make parts for them. Like Scotty D makes parts for them, and tons of other people do as well. Detroit Drifting makes parts for them.
Which they're on Injuku now.
Heck yeah. And like they have like so many options. The aftermarket's finally there, and they do good enough for drifting, especially for learning. So like it's something that like a broke college kid or a high school kid could go out and buy and feasibly make it work to go to the drift track and go drifting.
Yeah, so, that's fair. I personally, the only one that I could stomach buying is definitely a trunk car Fox body.
Yeah, they're cool.
Fuck the hatch, just doesn't hit right, but. Trunk car Fox body or S197 probably. Those are the only 2 body styles that kind of. And I know a lot of people say like the New Edge is like it's
a kooky.
The modern, the modern S chassis basically, and I'm like, I don't know about it. Those things have always looked fucking weird to me.
Yeah, but the new KBD kit on them though looks primo.
Yes. Now when I saw that, dude, I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
You got me contemplating a New Edge now.
Oh yeah.
Which actually it's so funny because dude, I just did the podcast with him while I was in Texas, and I think we brought that up on the podcast. How the New Edge Mustang.
Tell him to make a full C5 kit, the whole thing. I want the whole thing. I need it. I need it in my life.
I think he's doing that eventually. He's got a lot in the works, but like it's just he has to pick and choose.
Oh yeah, for sure. I completely understand.
What will keep it sustainable? I guess. I don't know how. Whatever. Yeah. That kit comes with a lot of fucking hate though.
Oh yeah.
Because dude, just Mustang people are so uptight and fucking weird. Like if you don't put Mustang specific parts on your Mustang,
Corvette guys are the same way. Why should so and so care that I put flames on my car or a hot boy livery or cool wheels or whatever? Like it's my car. I want to go have fun in it. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm like, I respect your build. Go do whatever you want.
Exactly.
If you want to like dump a car on its nuts and put like 22s on it, okay, cool.
Yeah,
it's your car. I don't care. How does it affect me?
Dude. Like there's this one guy that has I saw him at Ford Fest. Dude, I'm so sorry. I forget your name. But it's a S197. It's all red. It's like almost like a candy red. But he's got this like low boy kit on it that I don't even know what the name of the kit is either. Mm-hmm. But this dude, the car fucking looks sick. Mm-hmm. And like if I ever got a Mustang, it would be that style. I mean, low as fuck.
Yeah.
Which I don't even know how. I guess the S197s don't have they have the better rear end. So you can kind of get them a little lower.
There's a lot more that was cheated up going from the SN95 chassis to the 197. Like, they're a way superior car.
The way Matt puts it is all of the problems from the SN95, New Edge, all that stuff was completely fixed on the S197.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Like, dude.
1,000%. My buddy Otani runs a S197, and my buddy Austin, he runs one as well. And like like the difference is like that like little things will do to make those cars faster is just like insane. And like the suspension setup out the box is just better on them, everything like that. Like Otani has his car gripped up like crazy, and all of like the suspension stuff just works better. Like he can put anti-squat in it way easier. He can do like a whole bunch of stuff, and he's able to door cars that are way faster than him that he has no business dooring, and it just does it. It's just a good car.
Actually, what's your opinion on anti-squat? Because there's so much like mixed reviews on anti-squat and how people like the way it makes the car drive, and
depends.
Like, I don't get it.
Depends what track you're at. Depends what you're doing with the car. Things like that. Like how you want to set it up and everything. The Corvette's pretty nice, like with how it is like factory set up, where it has like essentially like factory anti-squat in it and stuff like that. Whenever it squats a little bit, it goes like it's nice. Like I literally push the pedal down, car goes faster. That's great.
How it should be.
Yeah. So like it has like a little
built race cars.
Yeah, put like a little bit of toe in it, like not much, and then just leave everything else like factory setting wise, and they just drive good. It's nice. So.
Okay. Well, I was just always curious because everyone's like back and forth on that topic, which seems so weird to me. But
and it
I don't know.
Definitely matters on the track and stuff like that too. Like, and if you have like a solid axle car, it's completely different than like a Corvette would be. Like with like going like over bumps and stuff like that. Like if you watch Chelsea's video at E-Town with him explaining it, like whenever it would land on the bump, it would try to stand up because it's like trying to put all that contact down on the ground at the same time. So it makes the suspension do weird stuff through like bumpy sections. So
crazy.
Yeah, funky stuff.
Oh yeah.
Very interesting though.
All right. Well, okay. Well, then let's jump back a little bit.
Sure.
Your first event, how like because you said the car was relatively set up already.
Mm-hmm.
What was the setup fully going into the first event, and like, I guess what was your expectation out of the first event?
I didn't expect to link the track or anything like that. I was going to go down there and feel it out. I had no clue what I was doing. I had slid around an S10 in college, and I'd slid around my Jeep Cherokee in college a little bit. But other than that, and like some like off-road stuff, but like I'd never done like actual drifting, you know, like on a track, like transitions and things like that. So I'm like, I'm just going to loop out the entire time, but maybe I'll learn something.
Right.
Cool. And the car was super simple. Like all it had was what I bought it with. So it had the max peating rods. It had welded diff, and it had a drift button on the handbrake.
Okay,
and that was it.
Gotcha.
Super simple. And
no bucket seat, no steering wheel, no
nothing.
Angle kit. Was it even cut knuckles?
Nope, just raw dogging it. Just going in there.
Fucking right, son. Yeah. Hell yeah.
And so I went into it, and then halfway through the first day, I was able to link almost everything. By the end of the first day, I was linking stuff. Second day, they were trying to put me in tandem trains.
Sick, dude.
So it was pretty dope. It was nice though, because they're forcing me out of my comfort zone. Like, hey, like you're doing good, but you could do better. Follow these people like that are going in this train and see what they do, and you know, try to learn from it. And like being able to follow somebody is like, oh my god, like, oh, I should have been doing that there. Like that's where I'm messing up. Okay.
Yes, and like that's such an odd topic too, because like as an experienced driver, you would more want to be in the follow if you're with someone new. That way, if they spin, it's on you to get out of the way. So it's more your fault if anything happens. But in order for the new person to learn better, it's almost better for them to be behind you so they can see the layout, like the line that you run, and try to mimic it. So I've always found that balance is just completely flopped, and
it's a little weird, but that's also the reason I bought a practice car that I don't care about. So because if somebody hits me, it's like, it still sucks, you know, like I'm still gonna have to work on the car, but it's not a big deal. You know, it's not like you wrecked into my Corvette that I have a lot of like time and money and effort into. Like you're wrecking into a car I have $2,400 into the entire thing, and that's it. Like, okay, it's fine. I'll go get a door from pull apart after this. It's fine. Don't worry about it, dude.
Right. Okay, well, would you say that you were probably more nervous or excited going into that first event?
Super nervous.
Okay.
Super nervous.
So excitement was like not even on the board. You were just...
I was kind of excited. Like I was like, oh, this will be really cool and everything like that. Like I was definitely like looking forward to it. But I'm like, oh, what if I'm like mess up and like I can just never get it. Like I knew I wasn't gonna be good, and I expected to like be spinning out and things like that. But like I just want to like go and like do good and have fun. Like I don't want to be frustrated the entire day. But like after like
did you even know anyone at the event? I
knew one person, but it was my dad's friend from work, and he was into drifting, and he had LSA swapped 240, and that was it. But I'd never met him before that event though. So other than that, I didn't know anybody.
That's so different because most people are like, they get sucked in by a friend group that's already driving or some shit. And,
yeah.
You know, so you like absolutely had no fucking clue. Like just that. I only asked that to put that in perspective.
Yeah. So I knew nothing. I watched a bunch of YouTube videos, and then my buddy Austin, who tried to introduce it to me before, me and him were building a car at the same-ish time, but we didn't have them done for the same event.
Yeah.
So like he finished his, but he's still having a daily yet. And then I finished mine, and it was just going to be a track car. So I did my first event, and he's like, oh, that looks cool. So he did the next event right after me.
He said, I'm not missing out the next time.
Exactly. So.
Oh. Okay. So actually, or did you have something else to say?
Nope.
Oh, okay. So if there was actually one thing that you could, if you had the opportunity to go back to your own and tell yourself one thing at your first track day, what would it be?
Change the fuel pump to a Walboro 255 right now, because it's going to fail you and you're not going to be able to drift to the left very well.
That's such a S chassis thing. Oh my God.
Yeah. So that was the only issue that I had. Other than that,
was it a factory pump?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I had to put a Walboro in it. And then after that, I had no more issues with it. So, and then, other than that, it did really well. And I learned a ton, met a ton of really cool people that I'm still friends with to this day. And, it was really good experience. So.
Oh, yeah. So how many events did you even get out of that car? Or did you do in that car, I guess?
I had it. So I was in school at the same time. So I probably did like maybe something like that. But that was over the span of like a year though, because I wasn't able to drive much because of school. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like a year, 2 years or so.
And this was what year was this too?
2018. 17, 18.
Okay. So yeah. I guess there were still plenty of events going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not nearly as much as now. God, it's fucking... It's
nice. It's great. It's a good problem to have with so many events going on.
We're spoiled now.
Yeah.
Don't take advantage of that, please. I don't want it to go away.
Yeah. I definitely think we're in our golden age of drifting in the States. So, and
I'm absolutely
very thankful that like I'm able to be here for it. So, like we had the opportunity to get like cheaper cars and things like that. Tracks are everywhere right now. Drifting is cool. It's like
the growing pains of drifting right now.
Yeah. It's definitely a little weird, but I think it's for the better for most of it though. Like it's like a cool thing. Like every car commercial you watch now has drifting in it. Every movie has drifting in it.
Oh,
Everything has drifting in it. It's cool that like it's
one of the previous podcasts, you go to the gas station and see Chris Forsberg or
or Von Gittin or Chelsea or something like that.
Crazy.
It's insane. It's so cool. And like I'm so happy that our little sport is growing so much. Like I'm very excited for the future. So
yeah. All right. Okay, so then why did you got rid of the S chassis, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so why did you get rid of that? And was it for the Z or?
It was for the Z.
Okay.
So I got to a point where I needed a little bit more power so I can keep up with my friend that had a faster car.
Gotcha.
And so I was like, all right, well, how much can I do an LS op for? I'm like, wow, I definitely can't afford that. I'm a poor college kid. I was like, well, how much can I buy a Z for? So,
dude, put in the comment how many times those words have come out of your mouth.
Yeah. And so I was like, all right, well, I'll look and get into Z. And then eventually I'll go back to an S chassis because I liked them. They had grown on me at that point. I mean, like everything you use to LS swap an S chassis comes from a Z. You're using a CD009, you're using a Z diff, you're using Z axles, you're using all this stuff. So I'm like, if I completely beer can this car, it's no big deal. I'll just steal all the stuff. I'll be graduated from college then, so I'll have money. So I'll just do an LS swap and an S chassis. Made sense to me at the time. I was like, all right, cool. So got a lot more power out of it because I went to like a rev up car. Well, not a lot, but like enough to keep up with my friend at this point. Like it wasn't a struggle to keep up now. Got more power out of it. Started doing well in the car, and like I really bonded with it. And then it was pretty simple at the beginning too. Coilovers. I did a hydro at that point though, and then I did the GK Tech bolt on, and it stayed that way for like probably another year and a half. And then after that, as I kept driving, and then whenever I finally got a job, I finally had the money to like start putting money into it. So, I did all the arms. I did full GK Tech front end, and then like bucket seats and like all this stuff. Like I did everything all like kind of together-ish. So, and it was nice. Like I got to grow with it. And then my buddy went and bought a Pro Charge 3 valve. And I'm like, wow, I really can't keep up now.
Oh, hell.
And then I was like, all right, well, how much is it to LS swap this one? And then, and because I bonded with that.
So how
chassis.
long did you even have the Z then?
Like a year and a half.
Okay, so it's about the same as the
Same-
previous
the same
car.
as the
So you still got to
240.
test it out.
Yeah.
A good amount.
And then after that, I was like, all right, well, how much is it to LS swap it? So me and my dad sat down and were like, all right, well, we can do this, this, and this. We can cheap out here, but we have to spend money here. You have to do this and that. Like, you can get a motor for this amount. I'm going to leave it as stock, whatever motor, 6.0, 5.3. Went through all the different options.
Yeah.
And it always kept coming down to you're going to spend about 10 grand. And that's what it's going to cost to be able to swap this car. All said and done, like nickel and dime little things we're trying to put together, like how much is this bolt going to cost? All right, what's the X amount that we're not going to account for? All this stuff.
Like God knows that's hard to.
And then this
put a
is
number
whenever
on.
like Losi was putting out like, hey, Corvettes are good and all this stuff like that. I was like, what about a Corvette? How much is a C5? And so I'm like, I start looking. I was like, I was only like 10 grand. And
all because of Losi.
Yeah, and I started looking at it. I'm like, wow, this makes sense. I don't have to do a swap, so I'm not missing any seat time whatsoever with having to take a car down to do a swap. I lose zero seat time. I can just do a bunch of bolt-on stuff, angle kit, coilovers, handbrake, seat, stuff like that, and then I'll be able to do all that stuff. And it's an LS swap that's already done.
Okay.
And then another thing that was a big factor is I wanted to be able to do like a street legal or a club sport series as well. And if I did a swap car, I couldn't do that. But a Corvette comes with the LS in it already. So you're already good.
And you're already at the top as far as power goes.
Exactly. So, and you're doing good. And like an HRZ and an LS1 Corvette are going to do pretty good against each other. So, and
absolutely.
I was like, and an LS, if I ever want to make it a little bit more retarded down the road, it's pretty easy to do. It's an LS. It's simple. So throw a cam in it, throw some heads on it, throw some headers on it, and let her eat.
Hell yeah. Okay. So other than just the already LS swapped type aspect of it, what would you say is the best part of a Corvette if someone else was interested in looking for their next chassis to either move up or whatever it is?
They're just good. They're like, how they say the SR20 is God's motor, the Corvette is God's chassis. Like, that's all there is to it.
Oh, that's going to piss some people off.
I stand by it. Look, it's okay. They're so good. It's the best driving car I have driven to date, period. It just feels good. You can make them super snappy. They're really quick. Like you literally, like I said before, you put the pedal down, you go faster. That I can drive with people in a stock Miata, or I can drive with somebody that has like this Bro-Am car that's a 500 horsepower LS 240, and I can keep up with them. And I can drive with both, and it's nothing crazy is done to this car. Like it's super simple. It's all bolt-on stuff other than a roll cage, and that's it. So, and they're just good out of the box. Like I really like them. If you want like a car that you can like get in and it's just like fast and quick out of the box, but you can also upgrade it and just infinitely and make it into a pro car, you can do that with a Corvette.
Oh yeah.
So, and they take a hit pretty decent other than like the body getting messed up, but all the body stuff unbolts and bolts back on. You can take the rear flares off with, I think it's like 18 bolts. And then you put new ones on, and it's super simple. And the frame on them was like a Chevy Tahoe. It's about like this thick. So,
right.
They prove.
Which I mean, decent. Like anyway, I always tell people just look at what Luke Fink's doing in his C6. Like that car is so. I don't understand how he makes it so fast half the time.
And it's so simple.
But
it's an LS3 car. And it has suspension on it, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it just works. It jams. It's so good. And you're going out
fucking down.
Yeah, and he's going out against people that are in like these full-on pro car S chassis, like how he did at the LZ Fest. He came in second at the LZ Fest in that car?
Yeah.
Going against like these absolutely insane like pro level cars. Yeah.
Yeah, that shit was unreal.
Yeah. He definitely has a driver mod though. So
Oh, absolutely. Which there's some stuff with Luke Fink that I want to get into later in the podcast.
For sure.
But are you ever going to consider getting like the KBD stuff for your Corvette?
I'd love to. If they make a full kit, I'll buy it.
Why not just get what they got? The rear bumper.
I want to do a rear bumper. So I want to do a full refresh on my car all at the same time.
Yeah.
Like a full new livery look, everything like that. So I want to get it all together all at the same time. I've been collecting.
Oh, I definitely don't blame you there.
Yeah, I've been collecting parts. Like there's a whole pile like in the back of Dad's shop that I'm sure he's not very happy about.
Yeah.
Parts that are sitting there.
Oh, we've all got that pile.
But yeah, so I want to do a full refresh, and like I like how the KBD can cop a hit really well, and it just like springs back to place. Like like Jimmy took like a huge hit in the rear of that thing at E-Town and just like wadded it up and then just like punch it back.
I was just about to say that because we were talking about it beforehand. The Jimmy Bruce that just came. Well, dude, that was actually when this one comes out. It was 2 months ago. But
Oh dang. Yeah.
But yeah, Jimmy, if you haven't watched that episode, go watch that one. But yeah, he completely crippled that shit. Like we had pictures of, which we can throw the pictures up again if we need to. But yeah, it's fucking worth it, dude. And he didn't even know, which is wild. He was like, "Oh, I guess I saved myself $1,000 today. Awesome, or probably more with paint and everything." But
yeah, for sure. And like I want to do KBD bumpers and then skirts, and then I want to do like flares on it, put nice wheels on it. Like I want it to look like really proper. I just need somebody to come out with flares for the car. I hear there's a couple of different people that are about to, so I'm very excited for it. I just need somebody to come out with a kit. So because 2F and what was it, Part Shop Max said that they're gonna come out with a kit like a couple years ago. It's like, please, come on, I'm still waiting for it. Give it to me. I will buy it the second you drop it. I promise.
All right, dude.
So I just need something for the Corvette.
I'm just waiting on someone to make some wild fucking like JDM skirt type, you know, like the big skirt.
Yeah. You seen the anti-boomer kit that's supposed to come out here soon-ish? It looks pretty good.
I may have.
Yeah, it's like
I'm bad with names.
They started with the Rocket Bunny kit and like modifying it for their own taste, but then it's turned into this like whole own thing, and it looks really good. So supposedly they're supposed to come out with it here soon. So we'll see if they're the ones that come out with it first. But they have flares, skirts, bumpers, everything like that, and it looks really good. And they finally came out. They're doing a pre-order release on the roof wing. So it's like, you know how like all the old like S chassis and the FCs and all that stuff had like the little roof wing. It's just like subtle little touch that's just nice, you know. So
I'm bringing back the style, baby.
Heck yeah.
Well, hell yeah. Well, hopefully, Irv, you'll do the full kit for the C5. I mean, probably. Well, honestly, the C5's more obtainable to the average person, so that probably would be the one to go for first. I don't know. I don't know what the Corvette market is like around the country either. I know they're
cheap in Texas.
Big
really
around
cheap
here.
In Texas. I've thought about road tripping to Texas a couple times because I found really good deals.
I had a buddy that did that.
Yeah.
He went and bought one that had PBM angle up front. Like it was already ready for the track, minus a couple things that he preferred to have on it. And it was like 16 grand for a C6 or some shit. I was like, excuse me, which was probably 4 years ago at this point. Yeah. But Willie Culver, that was a long episode ago. But yeah.
Yeah, like I saw one the other week where there was one out in Texas that had little drift bits on it and stuff, a C5, and they were asking like $6K for it.
What?
Running. Insane.
Holy shit.
I couldn't get them to message me back. I was going to go out there with the trailer. I was ready.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, and then you can find deals on stock C5s around like this area, like in the Southeast and stuff. Like the cheapest you'll get one, it'll be a little like haggard, but you can get one for like 6K, 7K.
Dude.
You get a hunt hard because they go fast, but you can find them. And if you want to get an auto and do a manual swap, which is what we did in my dad's car, you can get them even cheaper than that. So you buy one with a blown up auto because you don't use that torque tube trans diff or anything. Yeah. So it doesn't matter. So you buy one with a blown up auto, lowball them, get it for a good deal, and then just throw a new torque tube trans diff and everything in it. And then you do all the swap parts are fairly cheap, especially compared to like, you know, we did an IS300 manual swap and it's way more expensive to do. Like a pedal for a Corvette is like $50 versus like a pedal for an IS300 is $250. So, which is insane.
That's
but
nuts.
They made so many, you know, manual C5 Corvettes that parts are everywhere for them.
Yeah.
And they're readily available and they're attainable. Yeah. So you can find like a good part out on one, get all the stuff you need and do it all in a weekend. So it's not too bad.
Dude, it's just more and more. The Corvette just keeps proving itself to be
good chassis.
It's got to be the chassis to start in.
Yeah.
Well, I go back and forth on that all the time.
I don't know.
Other chassis.
I would say it's too quick.
Well, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Like as far as to build into something
for sure.
It's
hard to beat.
Long-term proof.
It's hard to beat. Like it's very future-proof.
That's the word I was looking for. Future-proof. Damn, I'm stupid.
Like you can definitely grow with it. Like if I wanted to put an LS3 in my car, there's a whole write-up on, you know, Hot Rod Magazine on how to do it.
Yep.
And it's been done millions of times. And it's still an LS. And you can trick it to where it works with all your factory gauges, have AC, have heat, have all this stuff. It's nice. It's nice to have a drift car with cruise control.
Oh, I bet on Drift Week. Shit.
It makes a big difference.
Oh yeah. Okay, the C5, it seems like an extremely simple car.
Yes.
So I guess you kind of gave a rundown on it, but like how, if you could explain how simple it is compared to other C5s that are normally on track with you. Like,
so it's like the definition of like a bolt-on car. It is the bolt-on FDF Fab angle kit on it. It is bolt-on coilovers. It's the Fortunatos.
BC guys around here. Sorry.
It has the what is it? The Part Shop Max handbrake in it.
Okay.
And then it has a diff brace. It has what is it? Improved racing, oil pan baffles, oil cooler, radiator, tune on it, and a seat and a cage. That's it.
That really is pretty simple.
It's very simple.
I mean, a cage is pretty elaborate, but
Yeah.
I mean,
I would argue that a Corvette needs a cage. Like the door bars on them are like non-existent. The doors are made of paper mache, hopes and dreams. Like there's nothing to them. Like if you get hit, like you're done for. So like I hit a barrier at Lanier and like it split the door in half. Like the door is like it's delaminated from itself and it's crunched all the way down the middle and it's like split in half.
Damn.
Yeah, they don't take a hit very well. So like the frame and stuff like that is rigid on them, but like the body parts and like the doors and everything like that are like not it.
Oh yeah, no, I wrecked with a C5 one time in my Z back when I had the GK Tech angle kit on it.
Yeah.
And I completely fucked that kit, but I hit the dude like right where the door met the quarter panel and it like completely crippled I don't even know exactly what happened actually. But he couldn't drive off. It's like the drive shaft snapped or something, or one of the
Like
axles on that side snapped. I don't know what the circumstance was. I don't remember. Anyways, that whole story turned out to be okay. We were cool, but yeah, like it took forever to get the car off the track just because it was a decent hit, but I don't know.
Never had any issues with that. I just have issues with like body panels not being extremely rigid. So like if you get hit in the door, you're gonna crunch the door. So
Well, that's definitely true. Z's don't have that. They have the factory door bars in them and shit.
They're made out of like woodpecker lips and titanium and stuff like that. I love how whenever you have like a Missile Z and you can see the door bar and like the tire marks around it and stuff. It's just hilarious.
It's dented right. You can see the crease of the door bar all the way across and just dents on top.
Yeah, it's wild. So. And then the other thing that I don't like about a Corvette too is like the skirts or whatever you want to call it, like the rocker or whatever, they're bonded to the chassis. They don't bolt on and off. Yeah, so if you cop a hit there, like you're having to do some work to it. So which kind of sucks.
Damn. Yeah. And they're fiberglass too, right?
Yeah.
Fucking that sucks.
Yeah, it'd be like that though. So
no, okay, that makes sense. Why whenever I see one busted, they just stay busted.
They just stay busted. Yeah.
Fair enough. Hell yeah. Damn, that really sucks because that's one of the first things to get screwed.
I know, all the time.
You go off track.
Time.
Damn.
Yep. So that's why I want somebody to come up with skirts for them so that you can kind of cover the ugly.
Yeah. Okay, so you said you had FDF on it though.
Yes.
Which FDF kit?
The Mini, just like the little. You know how the GK Tech has the bolt-on thing? Same thing, but it's FDF for a Corvette. So
sick. Okay.
Yeah, super simple and it works good. I have it at the max setting, and then I have Delrin rack bushings in it that act as a bump stop because there's no other real good bump stop.
Yeah, explain that a little bit because you were explaining that to me earlier.
Yeah. So what I have is it's a stock upper arm, stock lower arm. And then the FDF mini kit, and then I put it on the big boy lock setting because I want more angle, obviously.
Absolutely.
And then, but I was gonna have issues with it coming into contact, like the wheel and tire coming into contact with stuff. So I needed to put a bump stop on it somewhere. There was no good place, like on the control arms or the knuckle or anything like that, for you to put or make a bump stop.
Yeah.
So what we did instead is we got some Delrin rack bushings made for it, and then put them in the rack, and then that acted as the bump stop, so it would compress on that, and it's the rack inside the rack is like the bump stop. So
that's so cool how that works.
Yeah, so it works out pretty well. I haven't had any issues with it yet. My rack isn't leaking either, so that's a good thing.
That's good. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, what? Because Corvettes don't really have that much room up front with factory arms and stuff. So, like, what wheel specs and like all that are you running to be able to get the max amount of angle?
My specs, they're pretty big though for what it is. It's like an 18 by 9.5. I forget the offset.
No way.
Yeah, so it's pretty big, but it actually does really well. And then I just run a 235 tire on the front of it. I usually run like a Volino there. So Yeah.
That's a lot wider of a setup than I thought.
Yeah. And then I have the fender, so there's like hardly any inner fender left in it. So it's all cut out and everything like that, so I can fit more. But other than that, no. Didn't have to trim anything either. So and it's got a 1-inch adapter spacer too, because it's 5x120, and all my wheels that I had for my Z that I had a stockpile of are 5x114. So,
ooh,
yeah.
Throw some Kanseis on there.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, with your like, because that's a chrome livery you have on it, right?
Yep.
Dude,
so.
the fucking Neos I have on my car.
Oh, I know.
Dude, those look fuck with that.
Making a stockpile of things is going to get a full refresh all at the same time. Wheels and everything. So
if you were to, so you are going to be changing the wheels?
Yeah, I'll change the wheels. I've killed almost all of them. I have killed every wheel that I own because of
I did the same. Dude, I knew I was taking my car. Actually, that event, stupid cold. You guys can't see it, but that poster.
Yeah.
Dude, I went out and destroyed like 4 wheels that day because I knew I was taking the car down afterwards. So I was just trying to show out.
Yeah.
Ruined like 6 brand new tires from delaminating and shit. That sucked.
Yeah.
So I had to buy extra tires from somebody that had their car broke that weekend.
Yeah.
They had extra tires. So it's like,
at least it worked
hey,
out,
you want to make some money?
yeah.
Homie
helping you out, and they get a little bit of cash too, so it all works out.
Yeah, they get a little bit of money back. You said you are going to be doing new wheels. What wheels are you going with?
Still looking to decide, and then so I need somebody to come out with a kit first. So once they do over fenders, I can figure out what offset and everything I need to do so that it'll look right, and then I'll go with it.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for someone like whoever comes out with a kit first. I'm buying it. So,
well, I guess you need. You said you're upgrading the angle kit too.
I want to. I want to do a full.
You'd want to do that as well first.
So and there's a couple different options. So I'm trying to figure out which one I want to go with. But yeah, because there's Just Engineering is a new kit that's out now. There's obviously FDF. There's Wise Fab. There's a whole rabbit hole.
Just from not even because I use FDF and stuff, and FDF and Josiah's been on the podcast, blah blah blah. But like, just seeing the amount of effort and engineering he's putting into that chassis, I would almost want to go with FDF just because of that. Yeah, because the progressions and stuff that are going to be coming for that chassis is absolutely nuts.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch him on YouTube and everything he's done to that car. It's been really cool to see. So.
And now he's doing it again.
Yep. Yeah.
With a whole nother one.
Yeah. So
crazy, but
yeah, it's interesting, but like I'm trying to sit down and look and go through like each kit and stuff like that and see what I want to go with and just make a decision based off of that. So I don't really have any ties to anybody specific, so I'm willing to run whatever. So
fair enough, yeah.
I just want to run something good that I enjoy and don't have to worry about wrenching on or nothing like that. And
of course, yeah.
Go.
If you had the opportunity to get a C6 instead, would you definitely do that one?
Nope.
Why?
C5's my dream car. I've always liked
them.
Always liked them. So the person that got me into Corvettes was actually my grandma, funny enough. So me and dad and my brother and stuff like that, mainly my dad because me and my brother were little, we all built her a C3 whenever she got diagnosed with breast cancer. Shit. And we built it for her. She's survived 3 times now. Grandma's a badass.
Damn, shout out grandma. Yeah, that's awesome.
A badass. And so she's actually the one that got me into Corvettes because she took me for a ride along in it. I'm like,
that's
this
cool,
is so
dude.
cool. And then like the older I got, I'm like, oh, I love Corvettes, but like which one do I like? Stuff like that. And like the C5 has an LS in it, but it still has pop-ups, so that's cool because pop-up headlights are sick. And like
they just didn't look right on that chassis to me.
Yeah, see, I always liked them. And then like if you've ever seen somebody that's like done like the FDRX7 front bumper on them too, they look really good.
Now that does. I'm not gonna lie, that does look good. I've seen that.
Yeah, but like even by themselves, they look pretty good. If like you put like nice wheels on them, you lower them just right, get good paint on them, stuff like that. Like they just always look good. And one thing that I really like about the C5 is there's not as many electrical gremlins. So like a C6, if the battery dies, you can't open the door. Like from the outside, you have to like break into.
Oh, from the outside, yeah.
Like you can go in through the tail light, but you have to take out the tail light and then like jumper a wire, and then you can get the door to open. That's way too much work. Mine has a key and it has a handle. That's it. Simple.
Well, damn.
Yeah.
I thought all Corvettes had the little hidden key in the rear.
I'm trying to remember.
Or did that start with the C7?
Because we had to break into Luke's car at one point. I can't remember.
That may have been the C7 that started with.
But yeah.
No, I swear to God I've done that. Because I used to work at an auction, like a car auction.
Yeah.
And normally, if one was dead, you always just went to the back and there's like a little slot for a hidden key.
Yeah, maybe they do, but there's just always so much electrical stuff on a C6. It's just like the C5 is just.
I'm gonna look that up after this now. That's gonna bug the shit out of me.
Yeah. I'm sure. I have to look at it now. I can't remember. Well, I mean, you're gonna rip the rear off the car anyways. It's a drift car, so.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. Fuck it. Whatever. We'll save the spare key anyways. Okay, so I guess we'll move on from bragging about the Corvette chassis so damn much. You said you've been to Grid Life and stuff before.
I have, yep.
So I guess what is your just experience with Grid Life entirely? Like, how would you put that?
It was fun. I really enjoyed it. It's nice that it's like an equal part like party and equal part like driving experience too.
Mm-hmm.
And it was at CMP, the one that I had done. So it's a track that I've
That's
done
the one
before
I'm trying to go
and
to this year.
It's really fun. I love CMP. It's a really good time. Surface is good.
It looks nuts.
The kart track's hard on tire, but the road course is good on tire. It flows pretty well. The little carousel in the back that the spectators can't see, sadly, is super fun to bomb up. You can throw like massive backies there too. And then like it's nice. Grid Life runs it to where it's just open hot lapping for your session. So you can just be hitting like, like a $120 and then throw it in sideways. It's the most satisfying thing in the world, So it's really, really fun. And it was interesting too, because they had like the mixture of the classes, which is cool, where they had the grip guys going with the drifting guys. So like you have somebody in like a little Honda Fit, like chasing you down while you're drifting. And like you have like all these people, like you can see them with their phones, like filming the entire time.
That's hilarious.
Like, it makes you feel like a rock star, It's so cool.
Drifting around all the group guys.
Yeah, it was really crazy. And they're fast. Like they're super fast. Like I was like, wanting to do like a little bit of a cool down lap, and then like I saw a fit. I'm like, oh, I want to chase them, see how well I can do.
Yeah,
they walked me. No way in heck I was ever gonna keep up with them. Like they get in a corner, and it's gone. It's like, well, how? So, but yeah, it was really neat.
Jesus.
And then the nightlife is always entertaining with just like everybody being idiots and having fun and stuff like that.
Oh,
like,
no.
Like me and my buddies.
Well, I don't know. I haven't been to one yet. But
yeah, like me and my buddies just drinking and hanging out and singing Freebird, and then like getting a little inebriated and doing wheelies on golf carts, and then like fighting with cones on top of our heads and stuff like that. And it's like just being a bunch of idiots.
All these non-YouTube appropriate shit.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it's just a fun time. They have a concert, so the concert's fun to go to, and just like all that stuff. It's a blast. I really enjoyed Grid Life. So, but,
and plus you only get like 30-minute run times for drifting and stuff. So it's like most of it is the experience, which I think is good.
I wish they had more driving with the drifting there, but I mean, I understand why they don't. They have like their whole
such a small portion of what's going on, so it's kind of hard.
I think we had like 2 or 3 run groups a day or something like that over the 3 days. So it's not much, but like it's still fun. And like even whenever you're not driving, you're having a good time hanging out and just doing stuff.
Oh yeah,
like,
you have rave heads coming across the pits and stuff, checking out cars, and they have no idea what they're looking at.
Yeah, and then you get the guys that are into like spec racing, like looking at the drift cars, like, what is this? This is so foreign to us.
This is fucking dumb.
Yeah.
Why are the front wheels tilted like that?
Yeah, it looks funny. But yeah, it's cool, and like getting to like talk to them about like, oh hey, like what did you do for this problem that you have, like with like heating issues or something, and just like bouncing ideas off each other, like I wouldn't think of, and then they wouldn't think of for stuff that I do. So
seeing the incorporation from other motorsports into different I don't even know how to say that, from one motorsports to the other. There's so many unique things that like drag guys do, and especially grip guys.
Yeah, like there's a road race guy that was talking to me, and I was talking about like how I was having heating issues and what I'd done to combat it. And I was like, I wish there's a little bit more I could do and stuff. And he's like, oh well, take the little fins out of the side of the fenders for the car, and then that'll help heat escape better, because once they hit 80 miles an hour they close, because Chevy did that so they could help with emissions, because it built it to 220 on the water temp faster. So took those out and it helped a little bit. It's just like little things that you wouldn't think about.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's nice to have. So to bounce some ideas off somebody. So.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Pretty cool.
Well, I guess other than the driving experience at Grid Life and being on like insane tracks and stuff, what would you say is the best experience you can have at a Grid Life?
Other than the driving stuff, just like everybody you get to like meet and talk with, because it brings like drifters in from like all over. Like Ricky Hoffman was there, and Taylor Ray was there, and stuff like that. And like it brings in like all these people like from like really far places. Like Ricky's from up in New Jersey, and Taylor's from down in Florida.
Right.
I'm from Georgia, and we're all going to like the same place. And like you get to talk to all those people and intermingle and hang out and just BS and stuff. It's like you know, if you're just going to a local drift event, you're not going to have that. You're just going to have your local guys for the most part.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, every once in a while, someone will travel to come to a local event, but like, it's nice that you get to see all these different people that otherwise you wouldn't hang out with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
I'd honestly say that's even better than the driving.
It is.
Fuck the driving at that point.
The hangs are like 75% of it. You know, the driving is like 25%. Like the hangs is what makes drifting fun. Like that's why I love it so much. Is like the people are so good. So like the community is just like so raw and just like, I don't know, just it's comforting to be around. So that's why I love drifting. You know, it's the same people that you would go hang out with at the skate park, or the same people that you go hang out with at motocross track. You know, so they're just sick. They're all good people. You know, and then go get food afterwards or do whatever. You know, it's just a good time. So I really enjoy it.
Okay, then I guess that was, you said CMP is the only one you've been to?
Yeah, so I'd gone as a spectator to the ones at Road Atlanta, but I'd never got to drive there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Damn, I wish they'd go back to Road Atlanta.
Me too. I would kill to drift on Road Atlanta. I'd be so sick.
Man, maybe one day. Maybe.
One day. Fingers crossed. Really hoping for it.
Okay, so do you plan on going to any this year?
If my schedule works out with it, I'd like to. So
okay. Which ones are you trying to for sure hit if you can?
If I could hit one, I'd love to do CMP again just because it's close. But I don't know other than that. But if I can make it work, but who knows? Scheduling stuff goes.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. Well, okay. Let's see. Oh, the drift weeks. So you have mentioned that you've been to multiple drift weeks. You're actually wearing one of the shirts. So
Drift Week 6.
And Low C's episode just came out not too long ago.
Hey,
Which not yet for you, but so yeah, tell me about Drift Week. So I guess give me your bland version of why someone should do Drift Week, I guess.
You will improve 10 times as a driver immediately. By the end of the trip, you'll come back as a whole different person. And then secondly, you meet so many amazing people that you'll have lifelong friendships with. Like, period. Like, you meet so many cool people. Like, I have friends all over the US and people in Europe and Australia that I am friends with and talk to. Like, I play sim with guys that live out in Colorado and New Mexico and, you know, Washington and all this stuff. Like, that I talk to on a regular basis. Otherwise, I would have never met them. And they're, like, all super cool. And it pushes your driving because there's so many good people there and you're getting so much seat time just nonstop back to back to back to back to back that like you just get good as a driver really, really quick. Like I went on Drift Week 5. Whenever I left, I was a decent driver, but I came back 10 times the driver that I was, you know, before I'd gone. And then the same thing with 6, whenever I went on it, like I went there and then I came back 10 times the driver. Like it just pushes your progression so hard because there's so much seat time in such a little period of time. And then there's so many good drivers too that are also willing to drive with you that you have the opportunity to drive with that like are really good and will push you to be a better driver. Like driving with like Luke or Losi is a really killer driver. Not many people know, but he's really good at driving too. Yeah. And like all these people and like you learn so much. Like driving as hard as I had to keep up with Luke is absurd. Like I'm having to beat the absolute piss out of this car just to barely keep up.
Oh, my clutch leg was fucked after that one.
Just like the entire time just hammering on this thing to keep up. And like I was so much faster because of it. My transitions are so much snappier now, like all this stuff. Like because like I'm driving with people that are better than me.
Yeah, you get to see how it's supposed to look and feel.
And like they just push you to do better just with driving with them, you know, like having that opportunity to drive with all these crazy people. Like it's really cool.
Dude, that's why I say it all the time. Like, fuck it, go to Drift Week. Don't go to Formula Drift. Fuck it.
Do Drift Week.
Do Drift Week every single year.
Yeah. Yeah. If I could afford it, I would. It's great.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
It is a really fun time. It's literally like a 2-week summer camp. And like, honestly, like you kind of lose like your reality a little bit. Like it like feels like it's your life at that point. It's like, oh, this is so cool. Like, I feel like this is like the thing that I need to do. And
depression hits hard when you got to go home.
So bad. But like, it's really neat. Like, you know, like you feel like it's like part of like what you do now and stuff like that. And like you get so used to it and like you progress so much because like you're able to make like consistent like changes and everything like that to fix your driving and stuff. But it's cool. I don't know. I really liked it. I would do another one if I could. So
how was the first one compared to the second one?
So they're all different. So like the first one had things that were really cool that the second one didn't. The second one had really cool things that the first one didn't. Like they're their own. They have like their own vibe to them, which is really interesting.
So wait, the first one was from what area was the first?
The Northeast. So on
Okay.
that one, we did E-Town. So we did the road course and we did the figure eight for like the Formula Drift stuff. And that was also the LZ invitational thing that we were in too. So I got to be part of that, which is really cool. And then after that, we did Poconos, which is in Pennsylvania, where we drove in the snow, which was a whole new experience, which was really cool. Like, especially for like a Southern boy that like has never drifted in the snow. Like, it was really cool and really different than I expected it to be. And then after that, we went to Summit Point, and then after that, we went to Thompson. And then in the middle of what was it, Pocono and Summit, I think it was, we went to New York City, and there's like a bunch of killer like pictures of like the cars in New York City and stuff like that with different people.
Yes.
Dude, it goes so hard. Like these like super stylish drift cars in Times Square. Like it looks right.
Dude, that's one of the shots that like is a bucket list. I have to have that shot one day. I don't care if I gotta park my fucking car in the middle of Times Square and get out myself.
Dude, it was so sick.
Oh my god. Well, okay, actually, tell me about the you said the snow drifting. Were you using your actual car for that?
Yeah, so it was just so much snow. Like we were going from Englishtown to the Poconos, and we just got like hammered with snow the entire way there.
Oh,
yeah. So like it's like downpouring snow. They get like, I think it was like 4 inches like overnight, and like also meanwhile I didn't know this, but like the eccentric bolts in the rear of my car had come loose. So like I'm getting like dynamic tow in the rear of this thing while I'm driving. So I'm like, oh, it's super skatey because it's like on snow or something like that. And then we pull in to go eat somewhere. I'm like, it's a little funny. Why is that tire pointed that way? That shouldn't be like that in the rear.
That doesn't look right.
Yeah. And then like all this stuff, then get to the Airbnb, and the next day like it had snowed more at that point, and like the track still had a ton of snow on it and stuff like that, and we kept driving on it and stuff, and it got down to like where it was like mostly water, but it was still snowing and stuff, and it was really neat. Like it was super grippy on the snow, and then as soon as you touch handbrake, it was like ice. It was really weird.
Wow.
So, but yeah, it was cool. So I got to do a couple hours of that, and it was a really neat experience. And then, but after that, my car broke. And what's really cool about Drift Week is everybody's there to help each other, which is really cool. So I thought my slave or my master was going out because they had done a clutch on my car before I bought it. And it only had like 3,000 miles on it. So I'm like, oh, it'll be no big deal. I had street driven it. I'd done a couple of events in it. Like I was like, oh, it won't be an issue. But we thought that had gone out. And we're like, oh, crap, what do we do? And there's a guy that was on this trip named Jeremy. Shout out, thank you. We went back to his shop with all of his buddy Head in the Clouds garage, which is actually apparently in Amelia Earhart's old aircraft hangar or something like that.
What?
Which is
That's
sick.
cool.
Yeah. Got to hang out, drink beer, BS, and like work on the car and do all this stuff. And like, you know, otherwise I would have never had this opportunity of seeing any of this stuff. It was cool, like the people you meet, and like everybody's so kind and willing to help you out. Like, oh yeah, we'll just go back to my shop, we'll throw it on the lift, and like we'll do the whole thing. And you know, like I got all this stuff that like we'll go into it and stuff like that, and we'll get you all sorted and everything like that. Like thankfully, it was only the pressure plate bolts that had backed out because someone didn't tighten them and put Loctite on them. So we had to go through and do all of that, and then we're able to be like get on the road and go. But like, if I had to do a whole torque tube job, I could have done it.
Exactly.
Like to be able to get the slave, you have to pull the torque tube out to be able to get to it. So,
damn.
But yeah, and I was able to do all that stuff, and we were able to get to the track right at the end of the track day. So everybody was going to dinner already, and we were able to meet up, and hang out at the dinner spot, and get dinner with everybody, which was really cool. So. And
damn, dude, I gotta go on a Drift Week.
It's worth it. It's worth every penny of it. Do it at 1,000%.
Yeah.
So, and it's nice because you meet all these cool people and you have all these really neat experiences, and like, you know, you'll always have a friend somewhere wherever you go to a drift event because it brings in people from all over the world and all over the country. So, yeah.
Man, all right. Okay. Well, then I guess how did that one compare to the second one? Then was there anything that like was the first one a major failure for the most, not for the most part, but like, did you have more failures on the first one than the second one? Or?
I tore a rack out of the car.
Whoa.
So
hold on. That's
C5s,
unusual.
Yeah. So C5s have like a really weak point to where their rack mounting is on the passenger side, like where the tab is that essentially holds it, like it's an eyelet, and then it goes around the rack and it like holds on to it. Well, those always break. So FDF sells a kit where you can bolt on it, and it helps worth the money, buy it. And
go to FDF and get it.
Didn't know that, but I broke it. And so we hose clamped it, zip tied it, and what else did we put around it? Oh, and ratchet strapped it together. And then we drove the car from Thompson, Connecticut through New York City all the way back to Englishtown. So wild.
Damn.
Yeah. So really
Holy
crazy.
shit! All right.
Yeah, you'd be surprised at like all of like the like trail fixes or like bush fixes that you have to be able to get like from one place to the other. And then but like the vibe was different on Drift Week 5 to Drift Week 6. You could definitely tell like, so Drift Week 6 was in Texas and Oklahoma, which is Aaron's like stomping grounds. So you can tell like there's like a lot more like stop hangout places that were like all together with everybody, but you know, he kind of lives there. That's his stomping grounds. He's going to know where all the fun places are to go, which is really neat. Like we did the NASA space tour. We did like this super cool place in Tulsa that was like a giant like adult playground thing to where it's like it has like, you know, paddle boarding and it has like a big like rope playground and like all this crazy stuff. It was just a neat like hangout spot that you could go like play frisbee at or like all this stuff. And then we did something really funny was they did a strip club tour. That was sick. So they had all the drivers go between three strip clubs.
He talked about that on his podcast.
So great. Oh man, the shenanigans were just absurd. It was phenomenal. And like how many people can say like, oh yeah, I've been to a strip club with James Dean and Luke Fink. Dude, that's dope, right?
I've never been to a strip club in general. Yeah. I've just never cared to.
So the first one was like real classy and the last one was real raunchy. So we got the full flavor tasting of everything. It was definitely a spectacle. It was pretty funny. So
hell yeah.
But yeah, it was a good time. So and then the vibes were very different on Drift Week 6 and like it felt like the group as a whole was more cohesive because like everybody went to each one of these stops and everybody hung out together. It forced you to hang out and get to know everybody.
That's good.
I feel like I knew more people on Drift Week 6 than I did on Drift Week 5. Just because like we went to like everything that they did that was like the optional like fun day thing we went to. So,
nice. Okay.
And there was a ton of them. So it was really cool. So that's why it's like, I say it's like a summer camp because it's not just the tracks and the driving. It's like you do all this fun, like extra stuff that you like hardly ever hear about. So yeah, it's really cool.
So I guess when you're planning for a drift week, what are some necessities that you need to keep in mind going into a drift week?
What are your expendables? Like what's going to break on your car? So you can go ahead and plan out like a parts box or something like that. Cause you get like, a specific size tote and then you get to put, X amount of pounds into it. I think it's like 60 pounds. So you can put the stuff that you're not going to break much of into there. Right. And then, so like if I put like a knuckle in there and like, you know, weird stuff that I hope I wouldn't break and like a control arm, like stuff I wouldn't break on the road from track to track. And so like I got all my big items that I think would break and everything like that. And then I packed that in the trailer. And then like all of my stuff, because you have to pack all of your tools, all of your spares, all of your everything into your car and like in all of your luggage too and travel with it. So like I did all my stuff was like all soft-sided, so that was very malleable to like put together and things. So I did a soft-sided cooler so I could have a cooler with me. And then I had my tool bag with my impact. I had a Sawzall. I had a 90 grinder with a cutoff wheel on it. Like I took everything. I took a little bit too much, but like I try to have everything planned out. And then my dad and I, before we went on the first trip, we found out, all right, like what is the size of every single nut and bolt that's on this that I'm going to have to touch. And we wrote it on it with Sharpie so that we know what each thing is. So it's easy to work on and fast to work on it. And then we torque striped everything so that it would be easier to do a visual check instead of having to do a nut and bolt after each like run. Right. And then whenever we're doing all that, we're able to see like, all right, well, what are all the sizes of everything that we need to have? Or what do I need to have? Like, oh, this is hard to get to. I need to have a crow's foot of just this size. I don't need to have a whole kit full of crow's feet to be able to take off something. And like I was able to like very much like plan out like my bag of tools and everything like that and get it pretty reasonably sized and small-ish so that I could take it with me and it wasn't gonna be super heavy. And then I had to figure out how to Jenga in it like into the car. So like I have a cage that goes like, so it has the big X in the back where it like comes down from the main hoop. Right. And then I was able to put all my heavy stuff there in the middle of the car so it's not overweighting the back of the car. So it's not like weighing it down so you're not doing a wheelie like the Carolina lane everywhere. So I put all the weight in the center of the car and then my lighter stuff I put towards the rear. So I put like my luggage and things back there, like lighter stuff like clothes. And then like, I had like toe plates cause they have like this big, bubble in the bottom of a C5. So I put toe plates in there and then I put like little stuff that wasn't really heavy, but it just took up a lot of space. Yeah. That way I could kind of plan out where things needed to go. And then like all my extremely heavy stuff that was like, hard parts and stuff like that would go into Aaron's trailer. but like I'd keep like a tie rod in there because it's light and easy to move around, and like a wheel bearing that's pretty small and stuff like that. So it would be something that could fail on a road. So like between this stop and that stop, and I'd be able to pull over on the side of the road and change it out. But yeah.
Okay.
So I put a lot of time into planning for it, and then I did.
Damn, yeah, I see.
So there's some people that will do trailers, and then there's some people that won't do anything. And then I did a rack on the back of mine. So what I did is I put a hitch on the rear of my car, and then me and Dad fabbed up a table, we fabbed up a basket around a pop-up table because I hate working on stuff like just in the dirt on the ground. Like I have like having a table to work off of.
Yeah.
And so we made that to where that's like the bottom of the basket so that you can put stuff on it. And then, you can only have so much weight on the aft side of it because you're putting weight way far out here, right? So we did it to where it would be like pop-ups and chairs and everything like that. And so that way, it's a big thing, but it's like out of the way that you're not having to pack inside the car now.
Yeah.
So it makes it a little bit more convenient. So
damn.
Yeah, it's nice.
That takes a lot, it seems.
Yeah, it's a lot of prep. Like a lot of it wasn't super necessary, but like it definitely did.
What were some of the things you realized were completely unnecessary that you didn't
I didn't
use?
need a Sawzall. Probably didn't need that.
That's okay. Yeah, that was one that I was going to point out myself. That,
but like there's like little things like that. But like for the most part, like I would definitely take an impact. Obviously, I'd take like a little ratcheting Milwaukee impact. My tool bag was pretty sussed out for a Corvette and just a Corvette, so that was good. Other than that, I really wouldn't change too much of it. So it all meshed pretty well, and it wasn't excessively heavy. So it was nice. Like we could cruise at like 80 miles an hour going down the road, no problem. So
yeah. And so how did tires work for you whenever you went?
So there's a couple different ways you can do it, but the best way and the most convenient way is just to go through Volino, which is what Aaron sets up and everything like that. Yeah. Like, hey, before the event, we have these tires for sale for this pricing. And then we offer a tire package, which is like your mount, your dismount, your disposal, everything like that. Yeah. And so you can buy the package separate, or if you want to cheap out, you can mount and dismount your own, and then you can find a way to dispose of the tires, which some people have done. It's just a whole big headache and stuff like that.
Extra shit you got to do. Yeah,
it's more stuff you have to worry about whenever you can just drop your tires off or drop your wheels off, get new tires on them, go eat lunch or whatever, or just go back out on track and you don't have to worry about it. Like it's just out of your mind. So they put out a list. They have like, all right, these are the sizes we'll have available. These are the compounds we'll have available and stuff like that. And they try to standardize for the most part. Like most things are like a 265 for an 18 because that's what most everybody seems to run. Yeah. So, you say you want like X amount of these and this compound and this size, and then they write it down. Whenever you get to the track, you go up with your wheels and you say, hey, I have 2 wheels here. And like, okay, and they have like a whole spreadsheet the Volino guys do. Like, all right, we're gonna have 1 mount, 1 dismount, and you're getting 2 tires, and they write it all down on this, so they're able to keep track of it the entire time. And then I also took like stickers off the tire and put them on my hatch so I can keep a mental note of it too.
Oh yeah.
So I would know how much stuff I went through. And then at the end of the trip, if you have excess that you didn't use, you can either take it home with you on your trailer, or if they didn't have it with them because like they have to like stop at different places to pick up giant things of tires. They'd be able to mail it to you or something like that. They worked with me pretty good on it. So
damn.
And then I had tires from the previous trip I never used, and then I got those rolled over to doing Drift Week 6. So I was able to use them on that trip instead. So there's less tire I had to buy.
Gotcha.
Yeah. For the most part, like if you don't use it, you just take it home with you. So, which is nice. It makes it convenient. And then, and there's a lot of people too, like if you like don't buy enough tires, a lot of people will sell the tires that they've already bought because they aren't using them or they broke or something happened, right?
Right.
And you're able to buy the tires off of them and use those instead. So it makes it pretty convenient, and it's nice because you don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
And then
so just go through the Volino shit.
Yeah, it's
that
easy.
makes more sense.
You can do it different ways. So I have some Canadian friends that were awesome, and they're like my heroes. They probably spent like 45 cents on the whole trip with tires and everything like that because they get like everybody's scrubs and stuff like that, run it, and then put it on their little trailer, and then go dispose of it at like an O'Reilly's or whatever. Dude, it was great. They're like petted next to James. They're like, yo, you using this?
Just picking up all the scraps.
Yeah, and then take his scrubs and then go run them, just absolutely annihilate them, and then throw them in a little trailer and go dispose of them. Man, they had the best time. It was hilarious. Those guys were awesome. Like, dude, they did something cool. It was really neat to see them. So shout out to those guys. It was Ryan and Lucas. Those guys are dope. I love both of them. They're sick. So and Lucas has actually come and hung out for FD Atlanta and all that stuff too. So like it's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, like you get to see your homies that you see on Drift Week, like all the time. So it's really cool. But
That's always good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so well, I guess how much would you say an entire drift week costs? Like a flat number that you
flat
could
square
say.
number, probably 7 to 10K.
7 to 10 grand.
7 to 10 grand for one drift week. It is about the right number. So you're going to spend, X amount on an entry fee. So let's call it like 3K, right?
Yeah.
And then you're going to spend X amount on tires. We're going to say you're going to spend 4K.
Mm-hmm.
The most amount of cost is going to come from the tires. That's just going to be what it is. But it's so much simpler just to go for the Volino. I mean, you can save a couple of dollars here and there if you're able to set up a whole trailer, but then you have to worry about a trailer with a drift car and just like it's all this excess stuff that you just don't. It is way too hectic, right? And so you're going to spend X amount of dollars in tires, plan on spending like 4K, $4,500 for that. Then you have like your Airbnb costs. I think for Texas, we spent $650 a piece. There's 4 of us that split an Airbnb.
Okay.
And then you have food. I mean, you're going to eat anywhere. I mean, if you're going to eat if you're home or if you're on the trip, but you factor in like how much is your time worth that you're spending? Like, sure, you could cheap out and you could like go to McDonald's or something like that, but you're going to spend 2 hours to go out to eat. And that's 2 hours of track time that you're going to lose because you're going to take 30 minutes to get there, 30 minutes to get your food and eat there. Or if you're going to eat at the track, you're going to eat at the track. But like that's time that you're losing driving in the car. Then you have to drive back. You're probably going to stop for gas or something else while you're out there. Or you're going to get stuck doing something. Or maybe there's traffic. Like you're going to spend an hour, 2 hours. And that's time you don't have at the track versus you can just go to Careless, get your food. That's like decent quality food too. Like it's not just like crummy food. Like it's good food. And then you go back, you eat really quick and you're in and done for 15 minutes. And then you're back out on track again. So
back to having fun.
Yeah, exactly. Like it makes sense. And they're super nice and like very hospitable and like do everything to like they help people out. Like if they have food allergies or like food, like specifications.
Oh, wow.
Like they work really well with a ton of people. Like we had like one guy was a vegetarian and they're willing to work with them on that and like had options and like super cool guys. So yeah,
That's sick.
Careless is sick. I love Careless. So
awesome. All
super
right,
dope guys. And then other than that, like there's not too much for the expenses like fuel. And that's about it. But yeah,
basic stuff like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
7 to 10K I feel like is a comfortable number. Like for the first one, I'd plan on probably spending like 10K, and then once you figure out like what can you cheap out on, what can oh, I didn't need X amount of tires, I could order a little bit less, or like we can do different Airbnbs. Like certain parts of the country are going to be more expensive for Airbnbs and stuff like that. So, but yeah. So,
dude, I know that sounds like such a crazy number, but
it sounds absurd.
For the amount of laps and shit you're getting, the experience just alone,
you're getting a year to 2 years of driving done in 2 weeks.
Nuts. That's cheap.
Yeah, it's really cheap. Like, how much does a full season cost you? Like, how much do you spend whenever you travel to an event? I spend at least $1,000 to travel to an event. Like, if I wanted it, like for CMP, for example, like we talked about before, that's going to cost me $1,000 to do that event because I have to get a hotel. I have to pay for diesel to get up there. I have to check the trailer. I have to do wheel bearings, everything like that, to check over everything. I have to get up there and like all that stuff. Like, it's going to cost you X amount of dollars.
Yeah.
And I mean, Drift Week makes sense monetary wise after you look at it like that. Like, you're doing 9 track days, for the most part, plus or minus depending on the trip. But like, and you're doing it for X amount of dollars, like say 10K, you know what I mean? Like, that's not much more, but you're doing it all in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And with some really insane drivers, with some really good people, and at really amazing tracks. And it's nice too, because you get to travel. Like, I have done so many tracks that I wouldn't have done otherwise. Like, when am I going to drive up to Connecticut, go drive Thompson? Never.
I mean, that's
like,
true
like
too.
Just for one track versus like this is like, I had the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
So, which is cool. Like, and then like, we did Hallett in Oklahoma, which is one that most people don't get to drive. And it's insane. Like, you're doing like third gear in a Corvette, like topped out over a blind hill into like a G out spot. And then you like feel like you do a wheelie out of it. It's insane. Yeah. It's really cool.
Damn. All right.
And you get to like open your whole horizon to like all these different tracks. Like, I've done like 20 something different tracks now because of it. Like with like all
that
the
you'll
places you're able
probably
to drive.
never touch unless some crazy circumstance again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, or you couldn't touch them all at the same time, like in a 2 week span. There's no
that's
way
true.
you could do it. Like, you'd have to plan multiple big trips to go out to do it.
Yeah.
So, like,
you spend half the day or a quarter of the day relearning the car because you haven't driven it in 2 months.
Exactly. Yeah.
Whatever the fuck, or reacclimating.
Mm-hmm.
But hell yeah. Okay. Well, as if that wasn't enough experience with crazy tracks and shit like that, you've also gone to Australia as well.
Upside down land, baby. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. Y'all boys, y'all are in the comments. I know. Y'all get wild out there. Anyways, You've been to an Archie event.
Yes.
When Luke Fink was running it, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I went to Archie's last day.
No way.
Yeah. So I went to Archie's last day and I drove it his last day, which is like absurd. Like I can't say thank you enough to Luke and T and everybody like that for like making that happen. But like it was a phenomenal experience. Yeah. So
I mean, yeah, just hearing it from him when we talked about it, all of the nightmares and like just the nonsense that he had to deal with that track.
That's
like
absurd.
And oh my God. Anyways, I won't ramble about that. But like, okay, so how is that track? Just in general, just the track itself.
It's the best small track I've driven.
Why? Like what makes it the best? Because it looks like it to me.
It flows so well. So like it's a consistent flow and like there's not like a stopping point, and it has every little niche that you could ever want. It has a big entry. It has a wall ride. It has a bank corner. It had a Nico drop. It had a fast and a slow section you could pick between. It had like all these little niches in this one little place that you can knock out lap after lap after lap after lap. Like you have to physically stop yourself or like to spare the car. Because, like, you just like turn your brain off, and it is so much fun. And like it's cool. And like the only complaint that I would have about it was like the surface and like the one part with the wall ride was like a little bit of rough, but they fixed it all the time. So that's the only thing. But they stayed on top of it. And I imagine if they were going to keep Archie, they would have fixed it because they did with the bank corner. Like they were always improving that. Like they're always doing something to make it better, and they're doing it for the drifters, which was cool. Yeah. Like Luke does so much for that community.
He dumped his whole fucking life into that.
Yeah. He dumped his heart and soul into it. Like how much simpler would it have been for him to just like pave that corner and not do a bank corner and save how many thousands of dollars, you know what I mean?
So much. Yeah, that was like a whole 20-minute conversation.
Yeah, but like it's putting that in there and like giving that experience to people that have never had that otherwise is really cool to do. So it's really neat. And Archie was just like it was really unique because it like pushed driving with like because it had everything that you can learn different stuff on. Like it had a Nico drop, and it was so cool because the Nico drop had like a little bit of a wave into it. So like you come off the bank, you transition into it, you pick up a tire, you do the wave, and then it would like throw you out of it towards the wall so that you could run the wall ride. And then you run the wall ride, and then you do a fat entry into like this bank corner, so you can throw it like 10 times harder because it'll catch you.
So thought out.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's phenomenal. And then you can run reverse layout. There's a fast line and the slow line. So like you'd be drifting around the track, you'd go do the big bank, and then to the right is the slower line, and to the left is the fast line. So you'd reach out the window and point left or right for which side you were going to, and then you just chooch that way and just like keep going. And you'd have like a train of like 5 people. Yeah. And the drivers in Australia, like the guys that like the local Archie guys were absolutely insane. Like they were good. They were really, really
Okay, so
really
I was going to
good.
ask you about that. Like how is the drift scene just compared to the US?
It's very similar. Like it's really similar. Like it's the same type of person, like the same vibe, like like skateboard, whatever kind of dude. But they're like around Archie, they're all really well because they drove all the time. I mean, he did 2 events a week if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Which is a lot. And a lot of the people there would like help out and volunteer and do track time and stuff like that. And like there's a ton of people that just drove a lot too. And like you get good fast because it's hot lapping. So hot lapping just makes you good quick because you can fix your mistake immediately. And like it was a good track that would push you. Like it'd push you to be good. Yeah. So because like it had like all these cool little things that you could learn on and stuff like that and take it to other places. So it was really cool.
That replicate 2 other tracks and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Damn, I just had a fucking question.
We also went to Rally Raceway, which was down south, which was really cool. If you ever seen the Halfway Hangs videos, yeah. So we went down there as well on that trip. So I drove a Falcon. I drove a Falcon at the Archie days, and then for the down south,
whose car was it, by the way?
Luke's. So you know the Japan Falcon.
Yeah.
That car.
Yeah. Oh, fucking sick.
Yeah, which is so sick.
Oh my God.
Like it's so cool to like be able to think like, wow, I drove the car that's in Japan though. That's so cool. So also Falcons drive really well, just in case you're wondering. They feel really good. Like,
apparently.
They're a good chassis. I like them a lot. So people will argue over which Falcon is better and stuff like that, but I drove a BF XR6 if I remember correctly, and it's a fun little car.
I don't know my Falcons.
Had an NA Barra in it. It was a good car. So
man, that's nuts, dude.
Grippy, decent angle. I was able to keep up with pretty quick cars. So, like I was able to keep up with turbo Barra Falcons and an NA Barra, or NA Barra Falcon, and then like there was a like essentially a Pro Card 2J S15 that I was able to keep up with decently well, and like and it's pretty much a stock Falcon that had cut and shut knuckles and you know, just like minor other things, shockwork shocks, stuff like that. So
that's crazy.
Take it down. So it was fun.
All right, that's a fucking party car.
And then I went to the Gravy Bash down in Raleigh, which was the Gravy Garage guys host their own event, and which is really cool to like see the actual cars that I play on Assetto all the time.
Yeah,
which was
I
sick,
bet.
you know what I mean? And then Raleigh was really cool. Like there's so much more elevation change there that you don't realize in real life. Yeah, it's like
it doesn't translate on the sim and stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't translate on the sim, and like the videos you watch and stuff of it too. Like you don't understand like how much like elevation there is and stuff. So it was really cool. And trying to think of like another way to describe it, but like it was cool too because they also had multiple sections that you could do. So like there was like you do the entry, and then you could either take a right down the hill or do left and go a fast line and go up over the hill and stuff like that. And then it was really neat too because it's that big backy part, and then you transition back like down a hill and stuff. So it was a cool track. I will say that it's a bit of a wheel killer though. So on like the inside line, it's kind of dug out there, and like if you dip a wheel, you're just gonna explode. The wheel.
Like that. Okay.
Yeah. So I saw a couple guys like grenade wheels there, but other than that, it was pretty neat. But
man, that's fucking
neat
nuts,
road course
dude.
style track.
Those are, you're talking about a bunch of people's dreams right now.
Yeah, I'm very, very thankful, very blessed. Thank you, Luke and Z.
Oh, so I mean, shit,
awesome.
You worked for it, so
yeah. So
hell yeah. How did this opportunity even come about? Like what?
So, because I'm a complete fanboy nerd, whenever I did the Drift Week 5 and it was the LZ day where we could do call out comps, I walked up to Luke and I said, "Hey, I'm your biggest fan. I've always been watching your videos and stuff like that. Would you give me the opportunity to drive like with you and like compete against you?" He's like, "Oh, hell yeah." And so we both hop in our cars and go drive together. And then like ever since then, we just like talk and BS and stuff like that. And then just kept talking and everything like that. Got to where we hung out a few times, you know, a couple of the stops, you know, we'd like eat dinner next to each other and talk and BS, and then you know, drive together at different places and stuff, and just get friendly and became friends over time. And then at the end of Drift Week 6, I saw that Archie was going to close. I said, "Hey, it's been my dream. I've always wanted to drive at Archie. Would you mind if I came out to come and drive?" And he's, "Yeah, absolutely." He's like, "Yeah,
dude,
come on." And so I was like, "Oh, hell yeah."
What a legend.
Yeah, he's super cool people. Yeah. And same on camera as he is off camera, like everything like that. Like people say don't meet your heroes, but they haven't met Luke Fink. Like he's a good guy. Yeah. Super good guy. I mean, like honestly, like most of like the influencer type people that I've met have been like that. Like Jimmy Oaks is super cool in real life, and like Dave Egan is super nice. Like
I really want to meet Dave. Yeah. Oh my God.
They're all super kind. Like they're
those guys seem insanely cool.
Yeah, so awesome. They're really good people, just all of them. So yeah, I haven't had a really bad experience in drifting, which is why I like it. The community is just so good. So
yeah. Well, actually, what are your opinion on their drift cars out there, other than like the Falcon and stuff? Because they have like a unique build style. I remember watching like the first time LZ went out there, and like to see all of the pie, like they're huge on pie cuts.
Yeah, a lot of the guys have to do their own fab because they can't afford to pay somebody else to do the fab for them. So a lot of them just get good at it because they all do it. So it's pretty impressive to see.
That's hilarious.
So
and you go to Japan and like it's hard to even find a welder.
Yeah. So it was really neat to see that. And then it's neat to see the different chassis with different like motor options that we never got here. Like we don't have RB30s, so seeing like RB30s and different stuff was cool, and like seeing Barra and like different cars was neat because like we don't have a Barra. That's cool to me. I was like, I didn't know they made an NA one. Aren't they all turboed? Like,
I honestly, whenever I first heard about them, I thought they all were turboed.
Yeah, and then like you have like your Commodores and like all the other stuff that we didn't get that was really unique as well. And it was cool to see, and like to see them work so good. It's like, wow, this isn't a chassis I would have even known of, and it's over here just absolutely ripping. Like it's super cool, and like there's so many different like little like nuances and stuff like that with like different ways like builds are made. Like a lot of it is like similar with like suspension setup and stuff like that. Like, but you'll have like a couple different brands and stuff like that. Like you'll have Shockworks. A lot of guys runs that stuff. And then, but a lot of stuff is like the most different stuff is like your engine platform and your overall like chassis, like what it is. You know what I mean? But like they'll all run like a similar kind of angle kit to what we run over here and
Yeah.
everything like that. So there's a
All
lot of
relatively similar.
Yeah, a lot of similarities, but a lot of differences at the same time.
A lot of the creativity, it seems, is different. But
and it's really neat too because like seeing what they had as like their like fun party cars and like stuff like that and how they'd compare it to things. Like before I'd gone over there, Luke and Travis, which is another Australian, were over here. And we were talking, and I was like, "Hey, how is a Falcon? Like, how does a Falcon drive?" Like, "Oh, have you ever driven an R33?" And I was like, "No." Like, "Oh yeah, they're like they're like cheap beaters back home." I was like, "A what?
nah,
What is a cheap beater?"
excuse
then,
me.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Oh well, what about it was like some kind of Ute thing?" Like, "Yep, no, didn't get that either."
Yeah, no.
So yeah, it's pretty cool to see like the different like chassis that they have over there and like how well they do, and it'd be cool to have over here. So
Yeah.
like the Chevy SS is like a Holden something over there, and they would have like a manual version or something, and they just absolutely boogie, and they're just really good. It makes no sense.
Oh my god.
And then they got so many Jap cars that we didn't get. Like they have tons of R33s everywhere. They have tons of R32s.
I've got to get out of this country, bro.
Yeah, so it's really cool.
Fuck.
Really neat to see. So and they get the best of both worlds because they have all the GM stuff and all the Ford stuff and all the Japanese stuff because they're like in the middle of both. So
Damn.
it's really
Well,
interesting.
yeah, I knew that, but like, it's still just
It's wild.
it's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
I really have got to get out of this country and go see shit.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm trying to do more of it this year
I
too.
love that YouTube allows the opportunity to see more things around the world, just
Yeah.
in general. But
Like to be
see
able
it
to go
for
and
yourself,
experience,
man. It's just that's got to hit different, and it's like
for sure.
I'm getting to the age where like I feel like I should have gone to Japan by now, which
Yeah.
I'm only 25, so like I have plenty of time to do that. But like I'll see people just posting their own little pictures on Facebook of
Yeah.
the streets of Osaka or whatever, and I'm like, dude,
Yeah, I'm trying to
Oh
save up. I
my
want to go
God.
to Japan really bad too. Me and my brother are talking about possibly splitting a car and going over there together. So
oh my god,
yeah, I want to try
that'd
to
be
make it happen.
amazing.
So I want to go to Europe too. Europe looks sick.
Yeah,
like I
that's
want to
very
go
true.
to I want to go to Ireland. I want to go to Poland. I have some friends in Germany that I'm gonna try to go visit if work schedule works out in
Sick.
June. So I want to go over there. But yeah, it'd be really fun. Like I want to see as much as I can to experience as much as I can. And there's like something you can learn in each place.
How
too
do you
that
make
can
all
take
this
back with
money
you.
as a nurse?
So I'm a charge nurse in an ER now, and then so I do kind of okay for myself.
Hell yeah.
But the thing that helps a lot is I have so much time off. Like I have a ton
Oh,
of
okay,
time
yeah,
off.
that definitely
I
helps.
only work 3 days a week, so which is nice.
Shit,
I
that's
work, I work 3
I won't
12s.
say a cakewalk. I don't know what you do, but
Yeah, so I'm a charge nurse in a trauma hospital that's also a stroke center and a cardiac center. So we
Oh,
see
wow.
a bit of crazy stuff. We're the 3rd busiest ER in the state of Georgia. So yeah, stay busy.
all right then.
That's a good thing though. So
Well, cool.
yeah, definitely
That's nuts.
definitely an adrenaline junkie. So like
Yeah.
I like it in my work life and then outside and with drifting and all the other dumb stuff that I do.
Hell yeah. Well, it's definitely a unique lifestyle.
For sure.
I dig it. Truthfully, I would say you've gotten more out of drifting, and you said 5 years, right?
Started
years
in
of drifting?
18, so something like
That's
that.
roughly 5 years, yeah.
Ish.
So you've gotten more out of drifting in 5 years than I would say any average FD driver has in probably 10.
I'd like to think so. I'd like to hope so.
Absolutely. In
Yeah.
drift, the 2 drift weeks alone, you've got that.
Yeah. So, and like, that's an interesting thing too, is like, a lot of the people that I'll see like go for just like the comp aspect, like, oh, all I want to do in drifting is go pro. Like, it's like, there's so much more
yeah.
to drifting than that. Like, this is such a fun hobby. Like, don't make it too competitive and too much something like,
Actually, did you see the episode that just came out yesterday?
I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
With Jeff Donati?
I haven't watched that one
Oh
yet.
my God. That, I swear to fucking God, that was the most epic episode ever. He laid out every little detail that nobody ever talks about FD.
Yeah. That's
I
awesome to
mean,
hear.
down to like, which you would think would seem very blatantly obvious, wear
Sure.
your suit to the driver's meeting, but down to shit like that,
Sure.
that like doesn't get talked about.
Yeah. That you don't think of.
Oh my God. That if you are just even considering one day going into FD, go watch that podcast. I promise you will have plenty of insight. But
That's cool
not
to
to
hear.
discourage people from going to FD.
Yeah.
Like I will always say there's better routes, but if that's your thing,
I
do
would,
it.
I would like if somebody has the money to do FD, like why not make a track?
Fucking right.
Like I mean, like if you want to chase your dream, like I can't knock you for wanting to be a pro driver. Like that's sick. But
Yeah.
like I don't know, I feel like making a track would be so much more fun.
Well,
And like you
that's-
get something tangible at the end of the day too that you can use as an investment. To sell off if you
Exactly.
needed
And
to.
I'm like,
and it gives
so
us another place to drive. So.
all of those people, I'm like, well, why do you want to go to FD? And it's normally to like, I want to chase the dream, or like I want to drive with the best drivers in the world, blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, you could do that anyways.
Yeah, you can do that on Drift Week.
Exactly. So
Or
like,
you
you
can
could
go
get more
travel.
seat time with all those people on Drift Week or anywhere
Or you
else.
can go to Ebisu during
And
a
then-
Matsuri. You can buy if you can afford to do FD, you can go to Matsuri and Ebisu.
Oh, absolutely.
And then all the best drivers in the world go there, so you have an opportunity to drive with them. So like,
Yeah.
there's different ways to drive with the best drivers in the world. You don't have to go pro. So
Yeah. And then on top of that, like, what are you going to do after FD?
yeah. So
Now what? So
yeah,
you're going to waste all this time chasing some dream that's not going to get you anywhere.
yeah.
And then you'll break it down a little bit more, and people will be like, well, I think like hosting events and like I have an idea of like doing it this way or whatever. I'm like, go do that instead. Don't waste the 7 to 10 years of your life chasing FD that's not going to help you anyways.
Yeah. So interestingly enough, like I see a bunch of people that like get into drifting and stuff like that, and they're made to think that the only way that they can do drifting is if it's competitive. Like
'Cause that's all they see.
a lot of the dirt track families and a lot of the drag car families and stuff like that. Like there's a huge push for like the competition is the only way. Like that's the only thing that you can do. All you can do is competition. It's like. So they get that so like saturated in their mind that like this is the only thing that you can do, and so they just go super hard after it, get burnt out after 2 years, and then fire sell everything.
Yep.
Which stinks because there's a lot of really good drivers that are like not with it anymore because they got burnt out.
They shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, really. And then they're also trying to learn in a pro car, so they're building all kinds of bad habits, and they're learning in something that's way too overbuilt for what they are able to drive.
Yeah.
So yeah. It sucks. Like I wish more people would like stay with it because like I feel like if they didn't start out like that, if they started out grassroots and then try to go pro, they would have been better. They would have had a better shot at getting pro, like getting a license and doing a pro-am series.
Yeah.
And then like B, they would like still love drifting. Like they wouldn't lose that passion. Like they would still have it and like come to like grassroots events and just hang out and do laps and BS
Made
with
it
the
too
boys.
much of a job.
Yeah, for sure. And like whenever you make something a job, it just takes all the fun out of it. So
Yep.
yeah.
Fucking right. Take that advice. Okay. I guess let's do. What is, I guess, your goal in general moving forward with drifting? Like, what are you trying to achieve?
So what I want to do is I want to drive as much as I can, as many places as I can with as many people as I can. Like I love seeing new things and experiencing new things and like meeting new people and things like that. Like I'm trying to do as much as I can to like go out there and like I have always wanted to drive Mondello, so I want to see if I can make that like a thing that happens and stuff like
Hell
that.
yeah.
Like, there's a ton of tracks on the West Coast I want to go do. So like if I can like save up and if there's like a drift week in the future that goes to the West Coast again, I'd like to do that and like go out to like all these different
Laguna?
places and stuff like that. Yeah.
God, I want to drive that so
And
bad.
then something interesting with my career path is I can kind of work anywhere as a nurse. So if I wanted to do travel nursing, I could like go and stay in a place for 3 months and then drive there and then go to take another assignment somewhere else and go drive somewhere else. So that's something that I'm really toying with possibly doing next year is like buying like so I have a truck, put like a camper in the back of it and then get in a 2-car trailer and have like my Corvette and like a Jeep on it and then just go. And like, so some companies will pay you, like they can either like get you a hotel or they'll give you like the royalty worth of the hotel and you just use that to stay at a campground. And then like you go to these different places, pick up assignments there, like go stay in California for like 3 months and go do like Willow and do like Grange and all this stuff. Like this is something that I've really been toying with like doing because like it'd be a great way to see the country and get paid to do it. So
See, man, I love that people find cheat codes like that.
Yeah.
It's so sick.
like I wanted to find a way to make it work and also make money at the same time, you know?
Yeah.
So, and
The whole point.
I found a career that I could do that in, and I also get to help people, which is pretty cool too. So
Hell yeah. Well, congrats, dude. I'm glad.
thank you. So
That's fucking sweet.
very blessed.
Yeah, right. Well, you worked for it, so you earned it. But okay, well, let's do this. So usually I'll ask like if to get to your first track day, like what parts you'll prioritize, blah blah blah. But in this case, I want to do if I gave you $3,000 to spend at Injuku, what would you do to your C5? What parts would you get? What would you improve on it?
To improve on it as it is right now?
Yeah.
Or like, okay. I'd get a better angle kit. I'd definitely get a better angle kit. So that'll probably be like
the most of it. Big chunk of it.
Big chunk of the budget. Trying to think what else I would get for it. Power steering cooler. I still don't have one of those because I'm dumb and I need one. Probably get wheels too because I've killed all of my wheels. So I'd probably buy some wheels. That'd probably eat the rest of the budget. So yeah.
Oh, you'd probably bust the budget on that one.
Yeah,
but,
for sure. But yeah, I think it'd be money well spent. So
what wheels would you get?
I like the Kansei. I think they're pretty sick. So
which ones?
Glad
you chose Kansei.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. I probably shouldn't even say it. Never mind. I'll say that afterwards.
But like either that or like, I don't know. Like I like them. I think they're pretty cool. There's a couple of different ones that I like. Like the ones that are on Luke's car, I think look good. The ones up on the wall. Yeah, the ones up on the wall behind you, I think would look sick.
I wish they made these in chrome so bad. Yeah. I love the KMP so much.
Probably something like that. And then that'd be for like the track and stuff like that. And then like part of me like really wants to have like a really nice set of like 3-piece bad boy wheels. Like get some KFs or like, you know, some Blitzo 3s and just have it as
pull up wheels.
Yeah, just have it for like a street set. So whenever I go to like local car shows and stuff, like I have a nice set of real wheels.
Yeah.
Like I cannot drift on real wheels because I know I'm going to murder them. So I definitely can't do it. But yeah, for the track concepts, I think would look sick and they do good. So
hell yeah. Awesome. Well, that's a good choice. You should get a KBD kit too. Well, when they come out, I guess.
I need the full kit. Come out with it, please.
Well, yeah. They're on Injuku though, so if you are looking for a KBD kit, you can get them on Injuku now.
Yeah.
But I guess let's do your best piece of advice for just anyone getting into drifting.
Always keep your head up. Don't get too much object fixation. So like if you're looking at the wall, you're gonna hit the wall. If you're looking at the car that spins out in front of you, you're going to hit it. And like, if you're like just getting into tandeming and stuff like that, like keep your head up and keep your head on a swivel, like look 3 cars ahead. Cause if someone spins out up there, they're going to affect the entire train. So you need to have an exit plan to get out of the way so you don't wreck your stuff and your friend's stuff. So always keep your heads up. Always look ahead to where you're driving to. Don't focus on like, oh, that wall looks scary. Let me stare at it. Cause you're going to drive into it. Like look at where you want to go with the car. So, and that helped me a good bit whenever I had first started as well. So, yeah.
Yep. You don't see the opportunity to get out if you're staring at where you're going.
Yeah.
That's for fucking sure. All right. Okay. And then if you had the opportunity to give one message to the entire world, what would it be?
Have fun, enjoy life. You only regret the things that you don't do. So go on that trip and have fun. I mean, still save for a rainy day and stuff like that, but like,
Saving money's stupid.
Yeah, go enjoy life though. So like your
money's never worth as much as it is right now. Always remember that.
Yeah. So, but go out there, you know, take that risk, do that thing, and go enjoy life. So, have fun.
Fuck yeah, love it. All right. Well, if you want, plug yourself, plug your people. Anybody you want to shout out? Anything?
Well, my name is Jace Kern. It's Jace_Kern. Our little drift team is Last Minute Motorsports on Instagram and YouTube. Thank you for mom and dad for supporting my unhealthy habit of drifting and all my family and friends and everything like that for being like the hugest supporters ever. So thank you guys. And yeah, that's about it.
Hell yeah. Well, of course, all the links to everything you might need as far as the podcast goes, or if you want to grab you some parts or something on Injuku, maybe you got some hints from some stuff we talked about that you want to do to your car. Whatever it is, drop down in those links below. And of course, if you have not hit the subscribe button, you already watched the full podcast, you might as well go ahead and click it. Make sure it's not red. And then, yeah, see you each and every Sunday for a new episode. Thanks. Peace.
Trust no bitch, can't catch no feelings. I've been taking long flights from the Bay to Ibiza. Hit home runs, I'm a ball like Jeter. I just want 4-4-4, then I leave her. I'm a young pop star, call the boy Justin Bieber. Got a little money if you want, I can teach her. Whole life a movie, you can watch it.